We are here at 2504 Sagewood Drive, Montgomery, Alabama 36117. Sorry for the noise, helicopter go over us. Homeowner's name is
Derek Cole.
Derek Cole. The claim number is 0196 B as in boy 743 B as in boy. Today we're going to be attempting a repair on this one crease shingle right here. You can obviously see the seal's broken and starting to rip across here. You can see a clear crease going across the top here. So we're going to be attempting a repair on this one crease shingle today, and we're going to be seeing what happens to the manipulated shingles around it. Want to point out that Allstate, or is it Allstate or State Farm? State Farm paid for the front part. They paid for a few shingles on the back, but not really many on where we're doing most of our walkthrough today. But for the most part, damage all around the roof they acknowledged and paid for in the scope of work. So first thing I want to point out is we're going to be using an industry standard flat bar today. The reason I say industry standard is because the roof snake, contrary to popular belief, is not industry standard. The roof snake actually has a design flaw, so even though State Farm would and other companies like Allstate would want us to use a roof snake, the design flaw is when you're fastening in these nails, when you're putting back in the fasteners, they cause hail-like impacts to the shingles below, sometimes above, and even the shingle that you're supposed to be repairing. Also, even if we wanted to, we couldn't find one of the roof snakes in the last few months in the Montgomery greater area and any of the hardware stores. So even if we wanted to, couldn't have one. This one is industry standard, so it'll do for today. So, gonna get started here, which leads me to my second thing I'd like to point out. I'm only gonna be lifting these shingles high enough to get these fasteners out. I want you to see how low I'm getting. I'm trying my very best to not cause any further damage to these shingles. I'll break these seals first. This one is creased, so this one, it's probably already broken. Where am I going to? Over here? Yep. So again, going to be removing these fasteners to start. Got a nail pulled through already here. You can see up under there, that nail just pulled straight through. That's another point for water entry. When these shingles get as brittle as they are, most of these nails are just going to pull straight through. Almost pulled through there, pretty much did, but not going to be going back in these same nail holes. Going to be using brand new nails, going back in new nail holes. So like I said, those holes are going to be points for water entry. And let's come out over here. And that's another huge nail pulled through. I mean, that's a huge hole in the shingle right there. Put 3 nails in the same place right here. So it's taking a little longer. Yeah, that just pulled through. I'm not going to mess with that one anymore. Wow, shingles are extremely brittle. I mean, just by me pulling out these fasteners, you can already see a crease starting to form. Haven't even touched it yet. it. All right. Miami-Dade County approved, isn't that fun?
Huh.
Alright, we're going to be going back with the standard Owens Corning Supreme Onyx Black shingle. It'll do just fine for the repair today. So, just before I get this shingle in, I want to point out some of the damage that's already starting to occur. You can see this crease starting to form across the top here. Same thing over here. And that is with only lifting these shingles. Probably about what, 20 degrees? Now on this part, again, only going to be lifting the shingles high enough that's necessary. I'm going to have to lift them a little bit higher to get these fasteners in. For a proper repair, you gotta fasten in these nails straight in, not at an angle. So I'm only going to be lifting them high enough to do that. Very, very, very clear crease starting to form on that shingle. Again, haven't even touched it, just doing a simple, very careful repair. Luckily that one was a little easier. Let's see a nail. Yeah, and see that the reason for that is because I'm trying not to lift them any higher than need be. I'm not even lifting them as high as I should be to get these fasteners in. Alright, I need a new nail. Yeah. Last one here. Alright, let's look at the results here. See, without my hand even touching it, you can see clear creases happening on more than a few of these shingles. But I want to point out, with the brand new shingle, no matter what I do to it, whether I can pick it up, play with it, just like wind would do. Obviously these aren't sealed down yet, but no matter what happens to these shingles, whether I rub my hand across them very firmly, there's nothing that happens. No creasing, no nothing. It's because those new shingles are pliable as they're meant to be. When you got brittle shingles in a very simple repair, you can see clear crack and a crease starting to happen across here, and that's without my hand. Normal windstorm comes through, that crease very easily starts to form. Same thing with this one up here. You can see that clear crack at the top. Regular windstorm comes through, I mean, it's completely broken all the way across the top there. Same thing here. It's happening all throughout. Even the place that I had to barely lift this corner up with, starting to crease down that corner. Let's see. That's probably the only one. Nope, actually, it's got a little crease starting there, going across the top. And yeah, that's probably the only one I would call okay. This also, both have creases across. Let me see the chalk. I think it's very obvious. Going to mark up the damage here today. And right there, and we had a small rip. Where was it? Right here from hammering. So I think it's very obvious we're going to call this repair a fail today. This roof obviously has repairability issues throughout the roof, not just on this slope here. I'm also going to show you now these repairs that were done a couple years ago. You can see repair going down the valley. Very clear creases, breaking of the shingle, going all the way up where these repairs happened, right here. Same thing over here with these. And obviously they creased again in the January storm, the new repairs, but those failed 2 years ago. It's very obvious that the same thing would happen to one that we just did today. A colleague of mine did a full markup of the rest of the roof where there wasn't as much damage that was acknowledged. But as you can see, there is plenty of damage on the rest of this roof. I think it's very easy to say that a full replacement is the only viable, compliant option here. So please update the estimate to reflect these findings. Thank you.